The US has given the last proceed to the country's first COVID-19 immunization, checking what could be the start of the finish of a flare-up that has slaughtered almost 300,000 Americans. Shots for well-being laborers and nursing home occupants are required to start in the coming days after the Food and Drug Administration on Friday approved a crisis rollout of what vows to be an emphatically defensive immunization from Pfizer and its German accomplice BioNTech. Beginning portions are scant and apportioned as the US joins Britain and a few different nations in scrambling to immunize whatever number individuals as could reasonably be expected in front of winter. It will take a very long time of work to pack down the COVID that has flooded to calamitous levels as of late and asserted 1.5 million lives universally. The virus outbreak. The White House is constraining the FDA boss Stephen Hahn to concede a crisis use approval for Pfizer's COVID antibody before the day's over. The immunization won endorsement Thursday from a FDA board of outside guides, and FDA sign-off is the subsequent stage to get the shots to people in general. Governor Andrew Cuomo has re-established indoor feasting limitations inconclusively in New York City with an end goal to restrict the expansion in COVID cases and hospitalizations. Beginning Monday, just takeout requests and outside feasting will be permitted in the city. Here's what else is happening. Juneau, Alaska Governor Mike Dunleavy is proposing what he calls an exceptional reaction to restore Alaska's pandemic-hindered economy. His proposition, sketched out Friday, incorporates about $5,000 in direct installments to inhabitants from the state's oil abundance store and a framework plan he said is planned to make occupations. He says Alaskans and organizations are enduring, and this is the ideal opportunity to act. The state's economy has been battered by the coronavirus endemic, with the travel industry and accommodation businesses hit hard. North Slope oil costs have been underneath $50 a barrel for a significant part of the year. Santa Ana, a California judge has requested a half decrease in the populaces at Orange County prisons to shield imprisoned individuals from a significant COVID episode. Unrivaled court judge Peter Wilson's choice comes because of a claim by the American Civil Liberties Union that said conditions at the correctional facilities abuse the state's constitution and handicap separation law. The province has been requested to record an arrangement with the court no later than December 31st. Orange County Sheriff Don Barnes says his area of expertise is assessing the request, its effects and our alternatives for advance. Mexico City, Mexico's clinical well-being bonus has affirmed the crisis utilization of the Pfizer BioNTech antibody for the COVID. Mexico is set to get 250,000 dosages of the immunization, enough for 125,000 individuals. Lopez Gatell has said that cutting-edge well-being laborers will get the shots first. Immunizations are relied upon to start when 1 week from now. Lopez Gatell says the endorsement is obviously a purpose behind expectation, however the underlying rounds of shots are not almost enough for Mexico's medical care labor force. Kalamazoo, the U.S. Equity Department is supporting Michigan religious schools in their court challenge to Governor Gretchen Whitmer's prohibition on in-person classes in secondary schools. The office's Civil Rights Division recorded a contention for 3 Roman Catholic secondary schools and the Michigan Association of Non-Public Schools. A government judge in Kalamazoo will hear contentions Monday. The recording says schools and families have an established option to rehearse their religion through in-person guidance. It refers to an ongoing U.S. High Court request that banished New York from authorizing certain limitations on strict administrations in zones hit hard by the COVID. Michigan's Well-Being Division contends the encouraging limitation is important to control the spread of the COVID, particularly subsequent to Thanksgiving get-togethers. Flagstaff, the U.S. government organization that gives medical care to Native Americans, says it's hoping for something else than enough COVID antibodies to ensure all individuals working in the medical clinics and facilities that it reserves. The Indian Health Service was dealt with much like a state for circulation purposes. It presented an arrangement to immunize in excess of 2 million Native Americans and Alaska Natives. The organization hopes to get 22,425 portions of the Pfizer immunization 1 week from now and 46,000 dosages of the Moderna antibody before the year's over. Those portions will cover the in excess of 44,000 individuals who work at several offices that are getting antibody assignments through the Indian Health Service. United Nations 8 primarily Western countries are blaming North Korea for utilizing the pandemic to break down further on the common liberties of its own kin, highlighting reports of an uptick in executions identified with the COVID and exacting controls on developments around its capital. The assertion was given Friday after the UN Security Council secretly examined North Korea's common freedom circumstance. Germany and others had looked for an open meeting, yet Russia, China and other chamber individuals protested. 7 chamber individuals, Germany, Belgium, Dominican Republic, Estonia, France, Britain and the United States, joined by Japan, condemned North Korea for rights mishandles. They likewise said the North Korean government's choice to organize its weapons programs is unavoidably demolishing the effects of the pandemic on the North Korean populace. Little Rock, Arkansas well-being authorities on Friday detailed a one-day record of 55 passings because of COVID-19 and 2,770 new affirmed or plausible cases. In a statewide location Thursday night, Hutchinson said the state is seeing a flood in cases in the wake of Thanksgiving and recommended Arkansans travel less for the coming Christmas occasion and step through fast exams both when travel. The State Department of Health announced a sum of 2,875 passings because of the sickness brought about by the infection and 181,624 absolute cases since the pandemic started. The Wellbeing Division announced 1,059 individuals hospitalized with the infection. Wichita Wellness Studios proprietor and his business are suing Kansas for remuneration for being compelled to close down and return with limitations this year in view of the COVID pandemic. The claim, documented for the current week in Sedgwick County District Court by Ryan Floyd and Omega Bootcamps Inc., contends that the state utilized his and the business private property to serve the overall population when it and neighborhood authorities forced their limitations. The claim refers to part of the state's crisis, the executive's law that says individuals can seek after cases for pay in court if their property is seized. The Kansas Principal Legal Officer's office declined remark, saying it was exploring the claim. Governor Laura Kelly's office didn't quickly react Friday to a solicitation for input. Rally. The main equity of the North Carolina Supreme Court says unimportant, in-person court procedures will be ended beginning Monday for 30 days because of a flood in COVID-19 cases. Boss Justice Sherry Beasley said Friday the respite is important to ensure the well-being and security of court staff and general society. Since the beginning of the pandemic, legal branch authorities and workers have revealed 291 affirmed positive cases. Denver. The Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment on Friday delivered the areas of well-being offices in metropolitan and country Colorado to get the principal shipment of 46,800 dosages of the Pfizer antibody. Offices in Denver, Aspen, Colorado Springs and Fort Collins were a portion of the picked areas for the main Pfizer immunizations. At first, 46 medical care offices will get Pfizer immunization dosages, 151 offices will get resulting Moderna antibody portions, and 40 of them will get both. The areas were chosen for their capacities to store Pfizer antibodies in 60 degrees Celsius to 80 degrees Celsius temperatures and a readiness to rearrange immunizations to different suppliers. Bismarck, North Dakota's passing tally per capita from the COVID has ascended from 12th most elevated in the nation to 5th in only a month and a half, as indicated by Johns Hopkins University analysts. The state's demise tally has gone from 75 passings for each 100,000 individuals to 146 passings during that time, as per the COVID tracking project. The State Department of Health on Friday revealed 27 new passings, 12 of which were from November because of a detailing slack. The statewide loss of life since the pandemic started now remains at 1,130. State Health Department authorities on Friday affirmed 513 new instances of the COVID. North Dakota had for a long time driven the nation in the quantity of infection episodes contrasted with populace. The state currently positions fourth, with 1,350 new cases for every 100,000 individuals in North Dakota in the course of recent weeks. 1 in each 136 individuals in North Dakota tried positive in the previous week, as per Johns Hopkins University scientists. New York indoor feasting limitations will be re-established in New York City on Monday, Governor Andrew Cuomo reported. Just takeout requests and open-air feasting will be permitted. Almost 1,700 patients are hospitalized in the city with the COVID, triple the number a month prior. The public authority's top irresistible illness master, Dr. Anthony Fauci, talked with Cuomo by livestream this week, taking note of he anticipates that hospitalizations should continue expanding until mid-January. Cuomo's organization came notwithstanding resistance from the cafe business, which cautioned of Christmas season cutbacks as the central government hasn't passed extra COVID-19 alleviation. General well-being specialists have over and again cautioned that indoor feasting, especially in little, swarmed cafes where people are drinking and can take off veils when not eating, represents a danger for airborne transmission. The CDC as of late portrayed such indoor feasting as high risk. Phoenix, Arizona has detailed almost 7,000 COVID cases, the third most elevated number since the beginning of the pandemic. The state detailed 6,983 affirmed cases and 91 passings on Friday. Infection-related hospitalizations remained at 3,492. That is barely shy of the hospitalization top during the state's COVID-19 flood the previous summer. Medical clinic authorities and general well-being specialists have cautioned that clinic limit could be arrived at this month. Arizona has revealed 394,512 complete cases and 7,245 affirmed passings. Raleigh, North Carolina detailed more than 7,500 COVID cases, a solitary day record. In excess of 2,500 individuals are at present hospitalized with COVID-19, which speaks to a two-increase increment over the most recent 30 days. The energy rate has obscured 10% for almost 14 days, arriving at twofold digits unexpectedly since April. Mandy Cohen, Secretary of the state's Department of Health and Human Services, ascribed a large part of the uptick to individuals gathering over Thanksgiving.